again, everyone. Welcome once again to the Credit Bank Small Business Spotlight. As you know, on this channel, we love to put the spotlight on inspiring business owners. We're going to learn their stories, and she's going to share what drives her success. This episode is sponsored by Credit Bank, where you can get up to $500,000 in working capital with no collateral and monthly payments. That's right, I said that. I'm your host, Irv Cruz, and today I am joined by the lovely Amy Trout Hughes. She is the owner of 48 Blocks Fine Candy. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Irv. Nice to be here.
It's a pleasure. So let's go back to the very beginning, as I always like to do. Why did you start this business? What were you doing prior to that, and how did you get that idea in your head? Is like, I'm gonna get into confectionery.
So, after 22 years as a federal consultant, I was pretty burned out. I got an MBA from George Washington University that really changed my life.
Right.
I did not expect it to change my life and move into candy, confections. Um, I'd always made them as gifts with my grandmother.
Oh,
We would
okay.
make
A
candy,
family recipe.
a family recipe, at
Okay.
least one of them is. And I had made some for a friend for Hanukkah. And he says to me, I don't know why you're not selling these things. You could be the Marshmallow MBA.
Wow.
And that's how we named the first business 8 years ago.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
at the end of 23, I bought out my business partner. I wanted to go in a different direction. And 48 Blocks Fine Candy was born. And we're doing not just marshmallows. That's why our tagline is marshmallows and more. We moved into some vegan products and never looked back, really. I always say a bad day in the kitchen is still better than 80% of my days in cubicles.
Ah, I like that. I like that. So how did process improvement consulting, which is basically what you were doing,
Yes,
how did that prepare you for candy manufacturing?
there's a lot of R&D in manufacturing, whether it's candy or whether it's anything else.
Right.
And so when you're doing research and development, that is all process improvement. Um, hey, I changed the formula with a liquid, or mostly I'm changing the formula with flavors. We do 180 flavors worth of marshmallows
Oh,
and 8
wow.
flavors of fruit
Didn't even
punch.
know there were that much.
Who knew?
Yeah,
Who knew?
exactly. Yeah, but continue, please.
And so the process improvement one one of the things I learned doing that is you have to have a sense of humor, whether you're working with a client or whether you're working with candy.
Right.
And if you can't laugh at your mistakes or laugh at some of the improvements, you're not going to get real far. Um, Certainly, when we're using lavender flavors, there was a lot of laughter when you put it in your mouth and couldn't eat it because it tasted like shower gel. So
Well,
you
I've
try.
never tasted shower jelly. I
Your
wouldn't go
mother
that
never
far.
washed your mouth out with soap as a kid?
No,
Maybe
I
just
was.
me. Maybe just me.
That's great. So, talk to us about the award that you won for your marshmallow.
So, interestingly enough, we belong to a couple of trade associations, but the one
Okay.
that's most impactful for us is really Retail Confectioners International. Um, our other colleagues in that association, um, so imp- just really, they know what they're doing. They know their customers, they know their products, and really collaborative, really collegial, which very different from my old background. When you're working federal government, when you're working consulting, people don't generally share a lot of information.
Right.
Um, so getting used to that was something. But the second year that we were members, we presented at something called the Candy Clinic, and this is where we all, while still collegial, get a little competitive. And we presented in the best innovation category and really took marshmallow back to its roots. So even though it was an innovation of swapping out honey for corn syrup or glucose syrup,
Mm,
um,
okay.
which
It's a
is how
healthier, yeah, healthier alternative.
healthier alternative, and people have corn allergies. I feel like everybody's got some special allergy now, but
Right.
with honey, we were able to work with local producers, and we made part of the revenue stream. Corporate social responsibility is a big deal to me. And so, with the money that we made, part of the profit did end up going back to local beekeepers. As we're looking at the bee populations declining here in the US, we thought that was important. So, when we won the award for Best Innovation, it was not only an award for us in terms of the candy, but really a reward for the larger mission of our corporate social responsibility and giving back to the community. We want to be good community partners.
Right.
One of our hashtags, one of our favorite hashtags is collaboration over competition. And so we try to do that with in a number of ways.
So when you, and again, going back, when you first started the business, how did you, and I'm sure some of our listeners and viewers will appreciate, your journey in this question that I'm about to ask. How did you market yourself, and how did you get your name out there and aim to separate yourself from, people that exist already in the space?
Sure. We're within candy, we're still very niche.
Hmm.
85% of the candy that's
Okay.
consumed is chocolate. We don't play with chocolate except very, very little. We make a chocolate marshmallow and a couple of flavors.
Okay.
Uh, my
just the way, just the way you did that. You're like,
my hands are not cool enough for chocolate. I don't have the patience for chocolate.
right.
Super grateful that there are people who do and make fantastic stuff. That's not me. We really leveraged word of mouth marketing, whether it was through local chambers of commerce, trade associations. Those were two big spends within the first 3 months
Okay.
of the business. The Chamber of Commerce memberships pay off in a lot of ways, not only in relationships, but also B2B opportunities.
Yeah. Networking.
Um, we also leveraged our friends and family network, uh, which is pretty broad. Um, I don't love social media, I'll be honest with you. We use it because we have to.
Okay.
I don't find that to be, initially, I didn't find it to be super impactful. And then I learned, you have to meet people where they are on the journey. And so the introduction is via social media. Then they get to know you a little more and a little more. And it's just a longer term payoff. Uh, we had very good luck also with moving into wholesale.
Okay.
And through the trade associations, through different expos, through different conferences, getting our product name out there that way. With rebranding, with the new business, we're sort of starting a brand new company.
Right.
We're still going back. Our retail customers are coming back to us. But with the rebranding for wholesale customers, it's a little different. And we've just reached a point where we're able to launch that. So, Holiday 25 will be the big push for our previous wholesale customers. We had about 250 wholesale customers across the US and Canada. I'm still working with 8 of them right now, but again, summer is slow. You're not thinking of marshmallows in the summer necessarily, although we hope to change that.
Okay. So let's go back to the beginning of the journey, because this is something I realize, almost all of our listeners and, our business owners, um, future business owners, entrepreneurs always like to hear about as it relates to somebody else's journey. When you started the business, just getting the opportunity or the idea to launch your dream can be quite capital intensive. So, how did you manage to get the financing needed to launch your vision?
So I never dreamt of being an entrepreneur, quite honestly. It wasn't
Okay.
until after business school that I realized I wasn't as risk averse as I thought. Um, I was very lucky to be well compensated while I wasn't a consultant.
Okay.
And I don't recommend this for other entrepreneurs, but quite frankly, I liquidated 2 401ks to do it, just to have the cushion, just to have the pool of money to be able to start.
Yeah, but you went all in because you were
I went,
confident in that vision.
I went all in. Yeah, I went all in because I didn't know any other way to do it. I knew I wasn't going to work for someone else again.
Right.
That was my all in, and penalties associated with that occasionally. Uh, but I knew I couldn't work for someone else well after having a taste of not working for someone else.
Right.
So, being able to see a strategic growth trajectory um, was really what allowed me to make the play and to pull the money. I've also been really lucky. I've got a few angel investors who have backed me.
Wonderful.
For this business, we're launching a Kickstarter in August, actually, for some additional marketing. We're going to partner, the plan is to partner with GW University as a sponsor for school athletics. And that will be our first big investment in a strategic partnership. But again, angel investors have helped. I've been lucky that there are grants available. Going back to the idea of being a Chamber of Commerce member, we were able to grow through grants, which was additional capital investment, two of
Okay.
which were anonymous that came to us. That allowed us to move into wholesale originally and now can sustain that.
You were met with it kind of, it seems to me with like aside from your own all in that we just recently discussed, you were met with some good fortune. You met with some pretty good people that also shared your vision as well and understood the viability of the business.
Some of them understand it even better than I did. And
Oh, that's wonderful.
I'm so thankful for that. And whether it was personal relationship to me or whether it was just having experienced the products and seeing, the difference between a traditional marshmallow and what we were doing and what we're continuing to do, which is really kind of play the candy a little differently than some other people do. What not only because it's not chocolate, but it's a low allergen. It's handcrafted. It's small batch. I don't want to be Hershey's. I don't want
Right.
to be Peeps.
You just want to be you.
I want to be me. We're a boutique, woman-owned manufacturing company. That's how we brand ourselves.
Yeah. So how do you balance handmade quality with nationwide distribution logistics?
Prayer. No.
Hey, for me, that always works
That's
because there always has
always
to be a
part of
little
it.
bit of that somewhere.
Always part of it. Um, so the balance is really finding the correct customer. We
Mm,
are not for everyone, and we know that. And I'm
right,
comfortable with that.
right, right,
One thing I had to also get comfortable with was learning to say no. I cannot be everyone or to everything to everyone. And again, I don't want to be. So our customer knows what their customer wants. If we're talking about a B2B customer,
right, right.
if I'm talking about a retail customer, they're generally going to be a foodie or someone who's looking for something different. We do really well with aunties and grandmas if we're talking about family friendly products,
Okay.
but we also do well with folks who really want something different, something special. Um, we're niche because of the type of candy we're doing, but we're niche also too because it is small batch and people understand that that small batch in itself is a creative differentiator. I mean, we're doing 10 dozen at a time. We're not doing more than that
Right.
at a shot. And so we've had large companies come to us, especially since the pandemic, because businesses have either merged or just decided to move away from um, some of their production lines. So we've had large customers come to us wanting, hey, can you do 1,000 cases for us for the holiday? I'm like, I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. That's not my model. I am happy to refer you to somebody else who's doing that.
Right.
Again, the whole concept of collaboration, but that's not going to be me. Where we're doing corporate gifting, where we're doing wholesale, it is working with smaller independent businesses, whether it's independent grocers and gourmet food stores, or whether it's a gift shop or a boutique type of business. Um, I've refined our space where we want to be playing,
Hmm.
and I've refined our customer. I feel like that journey takes a lot. You think you know who your customer is, you think you've narrowed it down, and then you realize, oh, wait, I can still go narrower. I can still go narrower. And then sometimes you narrow it down too far.
Right.
Perhaps you come up with a flavor you think everyone's going to love and find out that no one likes that but you.
So I think that's a great segue into my next question because
Okay.
our viewers always want to know, in launching a business, establishing the business, marketing the business, maintaining the business, growing the business. For you, what were some of the biggest challenges or hurdles that you've come across, and equally as important, how did you overcome those challenges and hurdles?
Number one hurdle for me is that I am always more willing to say no before I let people say yes.
Hmm.
And that's a personal kind of self-protection thing that I
Okay.
kind of had
Okay.
to remove from business decisions. And not only do I have to be comfortable with saying no, but I also have to be comfortable with saying yes and pushing some boundaries and trying new things. Um, it's disingenuous, I think, to say that capital is always a challenge because we know that as entrepreneurs, we know that.
Right.
And so I kind of take that out of the equation. Not so much letting go, letting God, the money will always come, but more that can't be the primary driver of things. Other challenges that are out there. Uh, when I closed the previous business and bought my business partner out, I wasn't prepared to also lose my manufacturing facility at the same time.
Okay.
2 weeks before the start of my biggest wholesale season of the year.
Hmm.
That was a challenge. Partnership dissolution is no joke, and
Right. Right.
happens all the time. And it impacts more than you think it's going to impact, short term and longer term. But because I moved everything, it took me a year to find new manufacturing space. And when I did, it wasn't, again, telling myself no before I let other people say yes. Um, I was initially thinking, oh, I only need the same amount of space or maybe 500 square feet more than what I was working in before. I ended up tripling the amount of space that I leased. I'm in Fairfax County, Virginia. We're just outside of DC,
Okay.
where we're manufacturing. But what it did push me into is something I hadn't planned, and that's brick and mortar retail. Not full time, but we
Right.
do have space for that now. So that opens up new possibilities. So in working with a real estate consultant in Northern Virginia who really could provide good guidance and reminding myself that I don't always have to be the smartest person in the room.
Right.
That really allowed growth on a lot of levels. And now, new location, new manufacturing, and we launch everything with a soft opening on Friday, the 25th, with Christmas in July. Pray for me.
Oh, and we will. And that's wonderful. You're actually making my job a little easier because you're allowing me to segue into my next question flawlessly, and I love you for that because I most certainly appreciate you sharing your insights on the challenges and hurdles. But now, when you look back, what would you say is your absolute proudest moment or your biggest achievement with your business?
Not losing it during the pandemic, not losing the
Right.
first business during the pandemic.
Okay.
And honestly, signing the lease and taking the leap of faith in November of 24. Um, I didn't allow myself to say no
Okay.
and
Yeah. 'Cause
taking
sometimes
the
you can
risk.
be your own worst enemy.
Oh
So you
my
gotta,
gosh. Yeah.
that's a fine line you have to tread there to make sure
Yes.
you're still on that upward trajectory.
And I think, imposter syndrome is real in the entrepreneur community.
Right.
And I also think with women, sometimes we do it even a little bit more. There's the voice in the back of my head that will say to me, What are you thinking, little girl? Really, what are you thinking? Why aren't you just going and getting a job?
Right.
And silencing that voice is also a big victory.
Right.
Silencing the voice when it needs to just shut up and let
Yeah.
you move forward. But really,
Yeah.
signing the lease, taking the leap of faith, knowing that I can achieve something um, in a bigger market. Certainly, the DC metro area is a much bigger market than I was in previously. And I'm just so grateful for a landlord that is willing to take a risk on a small business and on a unique sweets business. That's not something. I'm not in traditional retail space. I'm not in a traditional like a strip mall or anything like that, and I'm not in industrial space. I'm a mile from the largest shopping area in the DC metro area.
Hmm.
But it's a big change, and it is a big leap of faith. So I'm proud of that.
Yeah, and I think, and you may agree. Well, I'm confident that you will. That leap of faith is really comes from one big word: belief. You gotta
Yes.
believe. You gotta really believe in yourself, and like you said, you gotta silence those demons in your head and just really, ground that belief that it's going to allow you to, you know,
And finding your tribe that believes in you, I think, is important. I don't remember where I heard it, and it may have been in business school. It was probably Dr. Bailey talking about the people that believe in you when it's just an idea
right,
may not be the same people who believe in you when you are in the thick of it and you're actually doing it. And so it's okay to separate those two tribes, you
right.
know, and understand that maybe people see the vision, but they don't understand how it works in reality.
Yeah, and the logistics of it.
Exactly, exactly.
Right.
And so having the two groups and maybe three or four, super important for success on the journey. Because as an entrepreneur, I certainly have days where I don't have the same faith and I don't have the same belief. But there's always someone out there, thankfully,
Lift you up.
to lift you up,
Yeah, and that's
remind
key.
you. Yeah.
That is key. So where do you see 48 Blocks Fine Candy in the next 2 years?
In the next 2 years is even though we signed the lease in DC, the goal is always to expand to Atlantic City. The
Okay.
business is named for Atlantic City, and the intent was to move it there a year ago.
Okay.
Things just didn't happen to work the way I had hoped they would work. So 48 blocks is the geographic area of Atlantic City, and it's also the number of pieces I get out of a batch.
Okay.
So it works both ways for
Interesting. I like that.
So the goal is to expand here to the beach with a food trailer, food truck, and possibly a
Mm,
festival
okay.
with other makers and growing the retail side of things. Uh, we were 85% wholesale with the previous business, and now we're looking for more of a retail wholesale split.
Okay.
And also then to expand the product line. We're always playing with something in the kitchen. And you know, now that we've built a brand reputation around the marshmallows, now there's opportunity to build a reputation with other confections, whether they are organic and vegan, which is always a niche that is an opportunity to expand into,
And trending too.
and trending. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, Playing with different flavors, moving away maybe from some of the traditional candy flavors. We've been doing a lot with savory flavors in candy, also trending.
Yeah.
And we're looking to launch. I've been an international traveler my whole life. And so to pull my own personality into the brand, we're looking at infusing global flavors into the candy itself. And so taking a lot of influence out of Southeast Asia, North Africa, the
Mm.
Mediterranean, and playing there, but also with some flavors here in the US. Um, the Old Bay caramel is fantastic. I'm not going to lie. You
The
don't,
Old Bay, as in like the seasoning Old Bay that you put on seafood?
yes, sir.
How'd you come up with that idea?
I drink a little. No, you
Uh,
forget how many sweet spices are in flavor blend.
yeah.
And so the Old Bay, I still want to do something with Bloody Marys too. We haven't gotten, that's a hurdle that might be a step too far.
Yeah, yeah, I enjoy me a good Bloody Mary if it's well made.
And there's a great Bloody Mary company in Richmond uh, that I've been playing with their spice blend to see if I
Mm,
can make it
okay,
work. It's the tomato juice that's a kind of a step too far.
right.
And but yes, the Old Bay worked beautifully. And
Awesome.
so playing with some other flavors along those savory lines.
Yeah, yeah. Just, find a way to rock that palate. Just,
Yes,
but it comes through a lot of trial and error. But
yes, it
but you'll
does.
know it when you taste it.
Yes,
Like when you taste that final product, you're like, hmm, this is gonna work. Yeah.
yeah. Usually between 3 and 5 trials on things. A few flavors take more, but 3 to 5 runs, and we tend to hit it pretty close.
Amy, I can't thank you enough for sharing your story and helping us learn about 48 Blocks Fine Candy. For those that are watching and they want to connect with you or reach out, how would they do so? Let's get a little plug for you in here.
Sure, easiest way to reach me really is on LinkedIn. Uh,
Okay.
we have the business page there, and that's 48 Blocks Fine Candy because I'm creative with flavors, not necessarily with my handles in different places.
Right.
And you can also reach me via the website, and that's 48blocksfinecandy.com. Oh, those are our
There
chocolate
you go.
marshmallows.
Look at that. Okay.
Email is info@48blocksfinecandy.com. And we're also on Instagram and TikTok and all the other places. I have some great staff that monitors that for us. And you can find us there. And happy to talk to anybody through my personal LinkedIn page, which is Amy Trout Hughes. You can find me that way.
Well, as our producer was scrolling through your website, I saw some really yummy stuff there. So, guys, if you're watching, especially, and you saw what I just saw, reach out to Amy and get some of that on your plate because you're probably going to go nuts over it. So, Amy, thank you once again for joining us and sharing your story. And to our listeners, if you've enjoyed this business spotlight and were inspired by it, moved by it, or even learned something from it, be sure to subscribe and tune in for more inspiring spotlights. Excuse me. Until next time, once again, I'm your host, Irv Cruz. Amy, thank you once again. We wish you all the best of success in your business and in your life in general. Till next time, we'll see you on the Credit Bank Small Business Spotlight. If you enjoyed this video, click here to watch another exciting episode.